Welcome back to Wills of the Rich and Famous. I'm your host, attorney Thomas Burton, and today we're going to be looking at another will of a famous person and learning from their will important lessons about estate planning. So if you've joined us before, you know I have this book, Wills of the Rich and Famous by Herbert E. Nass, Esquire, an attorney. And it's quite a large volume going through various celebrity wills. He went through the wills, read them, and put excerpts for people to enjoy in this book. And then important distinction here is that, remember, a will becomes public after your death, so anyone can go through the court records and read the will. And that's what this author has done and enterprisingly created a book. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Harry Houdini, which the author has titled No Escape. He was born 1874 in Brooklyn, New York, and died 1926 in Detroit, Michigan. So I'll read you just a bit of background and then get to the excerpt I want to emphasize today. The world-famous magician and great escape artist known simply as Houdini was originally named Eric Weiss at birth and was the son of a rabbi. At the age of 9, Houdini joined a traveling circus as a contortionist and trapeze performer. And the rest is mystery. At a young age, Houdini became a celebrated figure throughout America and earned large sums of money for performing in vaudeville acts and winning bets. So, and as you know, he became quite famous for escaping from several supposedly secure lockboxes and handcuffs and things like that. It says, during his lifetime, Houdini collected an extensive library devoted to magic, spiritualism, and the black arts. When he died, that book collection was valued at $500,000. Under his will, Houdini bequeaths his library relating to spiritualism, occultism, and psychical research to the Congressional Library at Washington, and his collection of books, pamphlets, letters, and the like related to spiritualism, occultism, and psychical research to the American Society for Psychical Research. However, in the hastily drawn codicil to his will, Houdini revokes the bequest to the society as follows. I wish to cancel the codicil giving my spiritualistic library to the American Society of Psychic Research. The entire collection is to go with my magical library to the Congressional Library in Washington. The reason I object giving my spiritualistic library to the American Society of Psychical Research is because I object to a dishonorable person like J. Malcolm Byrd being connected with any reputable organization. And the author says, obviously, Houdini believed J. Malcolm Byrd to be a strange bird. So I noticed this stood out to me when reading about his will and estate plan, and there's several other places where he's had some interesting things, cut people in and out, but the codicil I wanted to emphasize is a way to amend your will. It's what we call it a codicil is the legal term for an amendment to your will. And often, as the author says here, it's something drawn up later to add or remove a section. So he calls it a hastily written codicil. And the codicil says, I wish to cancel the codicil. So essentially, he's doing an amendment, canceling a previous amendment. And what I wanted to point out here is, while you can do a codicil to a will, in today's modern age, back when he was doing this, they were still likely using typewriters to draw up these wills. But now, if you get to more than one codicil to your will, I recommend you execute a completely new will. Just have the entire thing redrawn so it's clear what you want to happen. Because when you start having a codicil to a codicil, canceling a codicil, your personal representative left behind, it can become confusing how to keep it all together. Plus, you have all those dates and witnesses at different times. And if it would lead to a will challenge, in my opinion, then each codicil is subject to a challenge excuse me, to make sure it was executed in accordance with the proper laws and requirements. So he executed a hastily drawn codicil that says, I wish to cancel this previous codicil. And for those of you watching today, I thought this would be informative on the topic of a codicil. When you hear that word come up, a codicil is an amendment to a will. And in my opinion, I don't really recommend doing multiple codicils like this. Better to just redraft the will, remove the section you wanted or didn't want, and make it all clean. And especially for someone of significant means like Harry Houdini, in today's world with modern technology, simply redrafting the will to meet his needs, in my opinion, would be a good move. Now, perhaps he was on his deathbed. It doesn't say when the codicil was executed or if he had much time. But there's one other point about Houdini's will that's sort of interesting. It says, despite Houdini's magical powers, there appears to have been a significant domestic strife within the Weiss family. Remember, that was his name. In one section of his will, Houdini expressly disinherits a woman named Sadie Glantz Weiss, the divorced wife of my brother, Nathan Joseph Weiss, and the present wife of my brother, Dr. Leopold David Weiss. So it appears that this person he removed from his will, or what we call disinheriting someone, this Sadie Glantz Weiss, was married to one brother, Nathan, divorced him and married the other brother, this Dr. Leopold David Weiss. So I'm sure that made for some interesting family holidays and dinners together. So as a reminder, in Houdini's case, that would be a sister-in-law or previous sister-in-law of one brother and now the sister-in-law of another brother, but you're not required to leave your estate to anyone other than who you wish. And especially an in-law, they wouldn't fall in the intestate succession statutes, the default statutory scheme in Wisconsin, if you died without a will. And so Houdini, I don't know if he had left a bequest to her before, but he wanted to explicitly make clear that he was disinheriting that Sadie Glantz Weiss so she would never receive a portion of his estate. And if that's something you want to do with your estate, discuss it with your attorney as well, because it's very helpful to us to know if there's someone in your family tree that you want to make sure never would receive a portion of the estate. It's often a good idea to expressly disinherit them like Houdini did here. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Wills of the Rich and Famous. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.